So, I have a topic here that I am wanting to discuss that it makes me wonder why people protest what they protest. For a long time, people have told me going to DC can be dangerous. I've gone to DC multiple times, and even 10, 15 years ago, people tell me that crime's getting out of control. Well, Trump has had to deal with several members of his staff getting some kind of crime committed to them, whether it's Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security, having her purse stolen in public, even with the Secret Service right there, the Doge fella that got beaten, the different types of things that have been going on there, the high crime rate, and everybody being just in fear of their life. But the Democrats want this for some reason. Don't know why, but they do. And Trump has decided enough's enough. But let's discuss a couple of things here as to why this was difficult, why federalizing it will make it a little bit better. And one thing I've got about his thing about the homeless folks. So hit like and subscribe if you want to talk about any kind of government accountability or whatnot. So let's get into it.
Howdy, y'all. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself.
I don't know if you've ever seen the show The District. It starred Craig T. Nelson, who was best known for the sitcom Coach, and he had a few other shows that he was on. But it was a show that's hard to find on streaming services, but it is a really good show, and it showed what it was like in the 90s to have to police District of Columbia. There's also West Wing has shows about the education system there, about the homeless problem there, about crime there. So many shows have covered what it is to deal with on the crime level. And homeless is not crime, but it's still endemic of having too much crime going on. Now, one of the problems that I saw in the district, and I asked a cop that I met that was from there, one of the biggest problems that the cops have had is there are too many jurisdictions when it comes to District of Columbia. DC has a problem where you've got a lot of national parks and so that's patrolled by the National Park Service police. You've got Capitol Police, you've got the DC Metro Police. It just goes on and on and on. And so the cops have been having this problem where they've had to work with federal law enforcement for so long, and it's not a clear cut boundary where everybody is supposed to be at. And so these cops have been having to deal with that, which also allows some of these folks to get away, hide, and whatnot. And then you've got the problem of that the city doesn't actually run itself. It's ran by Congress, by committees, with the different jurisdictions, you've got the problem of the federal authorities from the executive branch. You've got the mayor of DC and his chief of police. It just comes down to there are too many cooks in the kitchen. Really, it is. DC is what you get when you have too many cooks in the kitchen, and most of those cooks all have something other than the best interest of the people. Now, you can protest all you want. Oh, this is our city and free DC. DC was already free. You've seen what being free is when they gave DC as much power as the DC government as much power as they did. And I'm not talking federal government, I'm talking the local government because they kept electing Democrats that kept allowing crime that honestly is idiotic. One of the biggest problems is that the gangs that roam around there, and it's the same in every city. We have lax juvenile crime issues, well, laws and regulations and all that. And I mean, I can understand it. Kids need to have a chance to, make mistakes, but gangs take advantage of this. And so the ones that are actually committing the crimes are under the age of 18. And that means they go to juvenile court, which in DC, that's family court. And family court's not set up for it. And there's no laws that are helping this. Not to mention that liberals are constantly giving all kinds of breaks to criminals. So that's what you've got with this issue. And that's why I think that federalizing them to clean it up and get it on a good footing and then letting it back to their control would be a good thing. But let's talk about the homeless issue. Now, let's start out with the homeless issue on one area that could positively be helped because there's already programs set up. It's just finding the people and getting them into them. And that is the veterans. If they're veterans, there's already a way to help them. You can start getting them off the street, start getting them into the right program, getting them the help that they need. Okay, that's one group of homeless. The next group are the ones that just went way down far on their luck. Those folks would be more than willing to get out of their situation. They've just been beat down so long that they need some help. It's not inconceivable that there's quite a few of those folks. And if there is something there positive to get them off the street into a situation where they can be helped and move them into becoming back to being productive members of society, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. I can't see anybody complaining about that. But then you've got the folks that are basically homeless, that prowl the streets, and whether it's from mental illness, whether it's just from something screwy in their head, they want to commit crimes. Like here in Virginia Beach, where I'm at right now, this is not a place that is known to be high crime, that sort of thing. Yet, you've got folks that are riding around on bicycles and riding around acting like they're something that they shouldn't be. I called one really close group that was here. I wasn't close with them. I meaning they were close to where I lived. I started calling them Thieves Guild because I knew what they were doing. And I'm sure the cops knew what they were doing. But thankfully this year, the past few years, they have been around here. This came after COVID. And I did ask them a couple of questions. It turns out that the guy that was their leader, because I watched them as I walked by them, because when I walk, their leader, I talked to him one time. Turns out he had just gotten out of jail. He had spent several years in jail for doing whatever. And there was drug related talk around them, this group. Anytime I'd be walking anywhere close to them, I'd be hearing talk of drugs, whatnot. And some of them would be riding on bicycles, trying to find ways to get by with stuff. And that's the groups that are causing the biggest problem, that aren't wanting help because they have found a way to use either, standing on the side of the road with the sign, "Oh, help me, I'm homeless," that are collecting like $300, $400 because people don't realize that it's a scam, that they're making more money in a day than they make in a week. Um, that's one form of panhandling that is illegal in a lot of places. You've got the folks that are finding little ways to steal and scam people. It's those people that are needed to be gotten off the street, and I don't know what can be done with them. Now, I've got an idea. I'm sure that there are ways to get some of these homeless folks into working honest jobs. Some of them just need some training. Some of them just need some help. A little bit of a hand up, not a hand out, but a hand up. But the criminal groups that hang around with the homeless, doing drugs and being violent, stealing and whatnot, those are the folks that are going to be the biggest problem with Trump. Um, because there's always going to be folks that are going to do that. That's the sad part about it. And so they blend in with the homeless crowd really easily. So I'm not sure if I don't know what Trump's got planned. I know he's got something planned, but that may be the biggest help right there in alleviating some of the more petty crimes. And then the cops have got to deal with the bigger stuff. But that I'm not sure what can be done on that. Once you help the people that want to be helped, then you've got the problem of the folks that are just not going to go there. But you know, Trump federalizing the DC police is actually, I hate to say it, it's actually a good thing. I really do hate to say it. I don't want to see law enforcement federalized like this. I don't like seeing that kind of problem. I don't like seeing National Guard moving in. It's I love liberty, I love freedom in person in me, but at the same time, people should not live like the folks do. You should not be afraid of where you live at, the neighborhood you live at. And I know that there are people in DC that are afraid of the neighborhood they live in. And the Democrats being in support of the criminals is a bad thing. But hey, they're always in support of the criminal. They're never in support of the good hardworking folks. They want the good hardworking folks to be victims so that that can convince them to vote Democrat. I don't know if Trump's plan will work. I really don't. I this is moving into a territory that I think's a little bit more extreme than I thought it would be, but at the same time, you know, like he said, that whole door analogy, if the front door is dirty, then the kitchen's probably dirty. Well, guess what? We've got to start cleaning up our front door, and DC's our front door. That's our capital. Considering all the stories that I have heard come out of DC, whether it's what's going on with their health care, what's going on with what normal everyday people want to or have to deal with. This is a cure to get rid of the food deserts. The Democrats are always complaining about food deserts. Oh, companies don't want to move in here. Well, they're not wanting to move into areas because of crime. If you get rid of that crime, then those companies will be more than glad to come and take your money. But if they have to spend all their profits on security with police barely doing anything, yes, you're going to have food deserts. This right here is a cure to the food desert problem. I don't like it, but it's what's got to be done. But that's just my take on it. Tell me what you think. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. So, folks, that's the story that I wanted to bring you on this video. And I just wanted to say thank you again for coming by. Hit like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff if you don't mind. Help me out. So, y'all have a good day now. Bye.